Hi everybody, this is Barb at Beckmann here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my personal home scrapbooks, and I make them from Gelli Prints. This is my daughter Aislinn, and she's 8 years old now, but I'm making a mother-daughter book starting from when she was a baby. And I made 2 scrapbook pages here and filmed both of them for you, and I used Gelli Prints throughout for my backgrounds. This book's pretty large. I don't really know the size offhand, but it's a nice size. This deli paper is pretty large, so I think it's 15 by 17. So this book is super large, which is great because I'm able to do a lot of dramatic things in there, like put giant pictures and stuff. So what I do is I print out the pictures that I love the most, and I don't use too many pictures on my page because I want to actually showcase more of my art along with pictures of her and just some journaling or messages that I would like her to always remember. So I just glued it down with some Mod Podge, and I want to cover all the white part, so I just rip another piece from another piece of paper, and they don't have to match perfectly. It's fine. I'm going to stamp over these. I just want these to be placed in the background. So I place it right over the circle there, and I will come back with a hole punch later on and put those holes back in. So the Mod Podge is going to help seal everything, and I want the kind of wrinkly, crinkly look that I'm going for here. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but I also used my scraper, which I think I used an old AAA card that you get, when you sign on for AAA. And I keep everything like that, credit cards that are old or any kind of plastic card like that, gift cards, and I reuse them for like scraping tools. They're awesome for that. So these stamps that I'm using here are about 20 years old. I don't know if they make them anymore. They're just foam stamps, and I've made many foam stamps on my own. So basically, you just go to the craft store, grab yourself some foam, some children's foam, cut out your shape, and you can hot glue them onto a piece of wood, and voila, you have a beautiful foam stamp. So I just happened to have the butterfly, and I decided I wanted to make it girly, and obviously, because she's my little girl, she is my only girl. I have 4 children, and Aislinn is my youngest. So I'm just using some Memento, I believe it's Memento Permanent Black Ink. You can use any permanent black ink. It does not have to be Memento. That's just the name brand that I used, that I happen to have on hand. But any black ink that you have on hand will work for this. So once I have everything inked up in my background, I go ahead and I take these pens that I absolutely love. They're Posca pens, and they're basically acrylic ink in a bottle. And I love the black and the white one. I use those the most, but they come in other colors, and they go really well over acrylic paint. Since this is acrylic paint, it's going over acrylic paint, it just works really well, and they're opaque, so you're not going to be able to have to do too many applications of it. It should cover it in one shot. So I'm just using some like Zentangle inside some of these leaves and some of those flowers and the other butterflies, and just to give it some interest. So I'd like to incorporate some of my artwork instead of going out to the store and buying like your embellishments that you can certainly buy, or your die cuts and stuff like that. I want to give Aislinn a book that has more of my personality and more of my doodling, and that's basically what Zentangle is. It's a bunch of doodling, and I used to doodle all the time, especially growing up before cell phones. Boy, back in the dinosaur ages, when my girlfriends used to call and you had the house phone that was connected to the wall. I'm really outdating myself now. But yeah, I used to doodle all the time, constantly. So it's just basically a lot of doodling techniques. And I decided to use that throughout the entire page. Now I know I'm going to be gluing a large picture. I already have the picture in mind that I'm using for this, and I want it to be quite large. And what I do with my pictures is I just pick them out. They are on my computer already. Everything's scanned in, so I have backups of everything in case I lost them, God forbid. So I just took one that I liked of us when she was little, and I printed it out. So I think she was a couple days old here. She was probably close, maybe more close to a week. I was absolutely exhausted, not just because she's my 4th baby and I'm very busy, but she was born on December 23rd, and I had a very busy Christmas that year with having 3 little boys to, attend to as well. So I was exhausted, but I just happened to love this picture of her. It's just, I can remember it as if it were yesterday. So I guess that's what scrapbooking is all about, isn't it? Is making your memories. So back to Aislinn now. I like to incorporate some of my artwork for her, and I also like to leave her messages. Not just journaling about the event, but I like to give her messages that will help her along her life's journey when she looks back and reflects on this. And I guess because I have lost both of my parents and missed them terribly, you know, I can still hear my mom's voice in my head sometimes giving me messages or whatever she's taught me throughout the years. So I figured I would leave this for Aislinn, and one day she'll look back on this and I think she'll treasure it. So I'm just now switching over to the black Posca pen and going in on some of these other flowers with some circles, some squares, some lines, again, some Zentangle. So it's a super fun background, but I needed that busy background from the Gelli prints to make this work. I use the Gelli prints often in my scrapbooking. I just love the brightness of them, and I love how each page is different. And I do scrapbook, you know, with some of the stuff that you can buy in the store. But I really tend to like more of this style. It's just a little bit more of my own personal touch and a little bit more artistic to me. I love all the Jolies and the embellishments you can buy, but I didn't design them. So, you know, I'd rather leave her something that I made from hand from scratch. I do make my own embellishments, and I tear paper piecings and make like little bears and little animals. Maybe I'll post a couple videos on that next time I do one. So yeah, I try to make everything on my own from scratch without buying anything. So I'm just taking an old AAA card here and just putting some pinks and some oranges in the background, and they'll lighten up as they dry. So here's the picture that I chose. I look exhausted. I probably was, because like I said, she was probably maybe a week old. She was a very big baby. So I just like this one. I just remember this time in my life. It was a great time. So I'm just going ahead and outlining the picture here, and what I'm doing is taking a little bit of gesso, watered down with some water, and spreading it out just around where the picture would be like hazy around me. And I'm doing that so we pop a little bit when the picture's put down. Our faces and our coloring will pop a little bit, because the background is so busy, I needed to kind of separate that. So I added some more white gesso over here. I was thinking I was going to journal up there, but I changed my mind along the way, and that's perfectly fine. That's what it's all about, is just being creative and changing your mind as you go. So I kind of like that haziness. It looked kind of cool. So I'm using Podge on the back of this, and I'm using like a heavy application with an old paintbrush. And I'm just going to glue it down there. I just use a paper towel, throw it on top of it, use my hands, and it doesn't come back up. It's pretty, it's not sticky like to feel it. It doesn't feel like a sticky glue, but it definitely works, and I've been using Mod Podge for years. So now where her feet are, they kind of just stop because that's where the edge of the paper was. So I chose to take a couple stamps and place them strategically in places where you wouldn't necessarily know that there was a harsh edge there where the paper ended and her feet were cut off. So I do the same thing. I marked right on my black shirt over there. I can see it. You can still see it, I guess you can from the video, but I just needed something to kind of look at. When they're dry, I went back in just like I did to the original background, and I colored these centers in, and I made the flower petals pink, and I went ahead and painted in some of that greenery with those leaves, and I worked on the butterfly. So this one came out super fun. I hope she enjoys this one day and looks back on it and realizes how special she is. So being the only girl, everyone says, oh, you're going to spoil her, and yeah, I might, but the boys actually have books as well. I guess being an artist and just being creative, I've been scrapbooking probably since 6th grade, so that's a really long time ago. I have wonderful books of my own with my friends that I did in middle school and then again in high school. So yeah, I like to scrapbook, and I like to reflect back on them often. So I hope one day she looks back at these books, or they all look back on their own books and realize how much I love them all. I think I do these too because I was the youngest of 4 children, and there are no pictures of me, sadly. My siblings were older than I was, so they were 13 years old, 12, and 10, I believe, and it was almost like 2 different families because my mother was older when I was born, and they just, either the camera broke or they just were too old or they just forgot about me. I'm not quite sure, but I don't have any pictures, so I don't know if that's where I got the love of scrapbooking, as I keep memories of everything. So it's around Thanksgiving, it's in another 2 weeks from now, and I had this great thankful and grateful stencil, and I decided to use it. Now, I used the makeup sponge from the dollar store, which I always use for my stencils, but it bled underneath. And instead of panicking and thinking like, oh, totally ruined my scrapbook page, I just make the most of anything. So you can always fix and change things, so don't panic if you make mistakes. It's really not a big deal. It bled, it didn't bleed a lot, but it bled enough where it was like, ugh, you know, when I peeled it up. But I probably added too much paint. I didn't pounce either. So I don't stress about anything. It's art, and I can always adapt. And I think I'm good at adapting because growing up we didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have a lot of art supplies on hand. So I used what I had, and I just had to be creative. And I think that helped me and pushed me to use whatever I had and to also think outside the box a lot. So if I make a mistake or something happens like this where it bleeds, I don't really care about it. I just continue on. It gives a character. So there were some spots that didn't have some black in it, so I just went ahead with some of my black acrylic paint and added that back in. Made it pop out a little bit more. So here's another old sponge or stamp that I had with a foam stamp, and it was like a border stamp, and I had no intention of using it as a border. I just wanted a shape. I knew I was going to be coloring it in with some black. And if you look close at this, you can definitely see all the texture from the deli paper that I used, and I love that about this. And it dries that way. You can see all those ridges and bumps. So there's a great shot of it right there. I just like that, and I think it's neat. So I went ahead with the Posca Pen when it was nice and dry and added a white little border. And then I decided to write her something. So I said, Aislinn, my sweet baby girl, always be thankful and grateful. And when you can't find those moments, look again. I am thankful and grateful for you and our family. You, my beautiful baby girl, are precious. I love you, Mom. So she's always going to have this to look back on, and maybe it'll encourage and inspire her to make books for her own children one day. So this is the first side, and I'm going to go ahead now and show you what I did when you turn the page over. I try to do 2 at one time. They don't take that long to do either. Like when people come over and they look at my scrapbooks, they're like, oh my gosh, what do you do? Just sitting here all day and scrapbook? But no, I'm very busy. I'm a professional artist and I do portraits for a living. And I like to play also. So this is my time where I play, and I do so many commission jobs I don't get to keep a lot of my work. I certainly do have paintings and stuff throughout my house and work that I keep, but I sell everything, or you know, people hire me a lot to paint things. So this is something I do for me. Instead of having paintings around the walls, which I do have, as I said, I like to make memories and to use my artwork to showcase them to my children, or to have my children remember that, you know, who I am. And I'm just very crafty, artistic person, and that's really the first thing people will say when they describe me is that she's definitely, you know, artsy, craftsy, and I just want them to always remember that and to enjoy my artwork. So I cut 2 pictures out here again that I love, taken the same week of her. I was smitten over this one, I'll tell you, because she was the only girl. I stared at her all the time. I was in shock that she was a girl. I didn't even know what to do with her. But she's a lot of fun. Like I said, she's 8 years old. I adore her. She's wonderful. She is like my shadow. And she's turning out to be a really good friend too. I know they say you can't be friends with your kids. I guess they say that along the way. But I know that she's going to be there and we're going to grow very old together. So I cut out some hearts from some of the jelly paper that I had just to incorporate those red circles. They're over there by the baby's face. And I added them down on the left of my shirt because my shirt was a black maternity shirt. It was huge. It was like a tent because I had just had her. So I was trying to cover my back and make myself look a little thinner, I guess, too. So again, I wrote her a little message here, and it says, "And our journey begins, my sweet baby girl. May you always feel all the love I have for you within my heart, and may you always know love never leaves. I'm with you always. Love, Mom." So yeah, I like to leave them little messages and things like that, or things of inspiration, or you know, at times where life might be hard and nobody's you know, immune to burdens and struggles. So I'd hope that she could look back on this book, especially, you know, when she's a new mom and it gets hard and you're not sleeping and you're tired, and she can find some strength from my strength and, you know, pass forward that warrior, that mom, that strong woman that holds kind of the family together. So I hope these just are something that she will refer to, kind of like a cookbook for your soul, I guess. So also cookbooks, you can also leave your cookbooks and your recipes and deli paper them and put your recipe on top of them, and then just you can cut out food from magazines, or you can draw your own food, or take pictures of your family recipes. That's what I like to do, is to take pictures of them, and you can make your own cookbook. So there's so many things you can do with jelly prints. It's really endless. I can't even tell you. I can sit here for hours and tell you all the stuff I make. So anyway, I hope you like this one. It's a short one, and I just wanted to share with you all the different things I do besides the paper piecing. But jelly prints are awesome. They are a wonderful, kind of like that freedom and play, and they just kind of get everything out of me that that's kind of bottled up. It's like just such a stress reliever, I guess, for me. I like that play, and I need to do it often. So I'm glad I'm able to play and incorporate some memories here for my children, and also for me. I look back at these as well. Who are you kidding? They're for me right now. They couldn't appreciate these right now if they wanted to. So anyway, have a great day. Please give me the thumbs up if you like my videos. If you give me the thumbs up, that's how I know you like them. Otherwise, I won't learn and grow from these. I'm not sure what, you know, people are looking for. Here's the second page, or here's the first page. But yeah, give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you like the videos and like my channel. I'll be posting a lot of different things. I don't just stick to one thing. You're going to see a lot of different things here. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks again, my friends, for watching. Bye now.